Me, you, and Hennessy. Dej Loaf featuring Lil Wayne. And that was released in 2015. So that track was dope, man. I was listening. That's a dope track. So did you do that? Did you guys do that in Miami or did you do that in Atlanta?
So by this time, me and Bam had we had broke up. The partnership had broke up. So by this time, I'm just in solo. So me, you, and Hennessy was a record. One of my great friends over at Rock Nation, Mike Brinks, he was managing a producer at the time by the name of DDS. Um, and DDS is from Detroit. So Mike calls me. He says, "Hey, I want to link you with this other producer." I said, "What's up?" He said, "I got a record." So Mike sends me the record. I'm like, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" I'm thinking it's just going to be a simple replay because initially that record had an Isley Brothers sample, but the Isley Brothers, they wouldn't clear it. For what reason? I don't know. I think it was just the cost of the sample was just costing too much. So it ends up happening. Mike sends it to me. I get on the phone with DDS. DDS tells me, he's like, "Hey," he was like, "Good to meet you." I said, "Yeah." I said, "So what are we going for? Like, what are we doing?" He's like, "We just gonna recreate the sample." So I sat down with the sample, replayed it, and I was like, "Nah, this ain't it." And even when I sent it to Mike, I was like, "Mike, this ain't it." I said, "I think I got something else for it." I said, "Let me play with it for a minute." So I took the replay out. I took all the work I did, I took it away. So by this time, I think I want to say I had the record for about 3 weeks. So we were going into Christmas. So I remember DDS was at church. I'm at home and I'm sitting there and I'm listening to Dej's vocals. I'm listening to her vocals. I'm like, all right. So I started playing around with some stuff and I was like, I said, I got it. So I went on here, threw the keys down, started doing what I'm doing. I'm texting DDS in church. He like, "Man, stop texting me. I'm on the drums right now, bro. You finna get me in trouble." I'm like, "Bro, you got to hear this." He like, "Man, wait till I get out of church." So he finally gets out of church. He hears it. He calls me immediately. He said, "Hey, this finna be big, bro." So I send it to Mike. Mike hears it. Mike like, "Oh yeah." I said, "I already sent it to DDS." I said, "Where you want me to send these stems to?" I said, "Because I know this gonna go on the album. I know it's gonna be a single. I already know that, Mike." So Mike like, he's like, "Slow down, slow down, slow down." So I said, "All right." So I send it back to DDS. DDS does another drum edit because I was using his drums that he had on there. So he did like another drum edit. He sends it back to me. Mike had me do some vocal edit to it. I send it back to Mike. Mike sends it back to DDS. So the record was just going back and forth. That's the great thing about collabs because when you collab with somebody who's like minded and both of y'all go into it with the energy like, "Yo, we gonna make this record the best record," the possibilities is endless, man. And that's what happened. So DDS does what he does, sends it to Mike. All of a sudden, I ain't hear nothing else. Mike called. He said, "Hey, check your email." So I'm listening to the record. Now, mind you, I only heard Deja's vocals on there. So by the time I get the record back and I heard Lil Wayne on there, I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "Ooh, I got a Wayne record."
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So that was everything for me. I was like, man, I said, "Yo, this crazy."
yeah,
And I couldn't believe it, but I was like, collaboration, some collaborations are just dope. It's just meant to happen. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to what I said earlier, really allowing God to really take that talent and to be able to use your gift. You know what I'm saying? Now I would say I would say this. A lot of people, because I've gotten flack for that record, because people are like, "Well, how could you produce a record like that and you're a Christian and da 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 da?" Well, I always separate my profession from who I am. I never compromise my beliefs for my profession. I never. So me being in a position, what it did, it formed a relationship between me and DDS. It took our conversations beyond music. And you feel me on what I'm saying? So it took it beyond it. It served its purpose. And I think as believers, what we have to understand is this: God uses believers in every area, every walk of life, every area. You have to be sensitive and open your ears to hear what is he telling you to do and how to do it. Now, now you can't control what goes on the record. You can't control what happens on the playing field. You can't control that part. That's not the part you're supposed to be worried about. You're just supposed to be worried about being the vessel that God can use through your talent.